All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see outside, it's cloudy and drizzling. We got rain coming in tonight, but I think tomorrow it's supposed to clear up and be 70 degrees, 88 degrees. All right, let's get back down to the Idaho 4 case, the survivors. What kind of importance do they play in this case? Well, a big part. And the reason is because they are survivors of this uh, quadruple murder, and they hold the key. And that key is voice recognition. And they heard the voice of the killer or possibly killers. So, and the bushy eyebrows, right? I've been watching a couple YouTubers that people are looking at going, this guy's got bushy eyebrows. And this guy is constantly moving, on the move. It might have been out there that time, you know. Now, once again, folks, I want to remind you that we have seen people do crazy things in the world. Even police officers commit crimes so they can solve them. Even fire department people cause fires so they can uh, be the hero. We've also seen government create things so they can be the hero. We've seen this even in big business where somebody, an individual, turns the company upside down and then last minute is the savior of the problem. Now, I'm not saying that's the thing in this case, but we have seen that before in cases and society. So there is a lot of people that have bushy eyebrows, right? There is talk of a YouTuber that's possible. That is constantly on the move. That's possible. Anything's possible. Food truck guys, that's very possible. There was an altercation uh, between one of the girls and one of the people waiting in line. So that's very possible. They're all suspects, folks. Even um, the boyfriends, even the roommates. But here's a key thing that the roommates that survived this have, and that's if they heard that voice in such a chaos, commotion, very scary if these two didn't have anything to do with it, situation. So that voice is burned into the survivors that heard it, right? There was one of the girls that survived that heard the voice of the person or people. I'm not sure. There's possible there was a lot more involved in this. You really never know. But they hold the key because, I mean, I wish we had, I wish these kids would have had a security camera in their home because that would have picked up everything, even cameras within their home inside the house, which I do believe they pretty much solved the case and knew what was going on with the Watts case. And what I believe is they did have uh, either voice or recording, being that it was a security system that they had that if a door opened up or something was lodged or anything like that, the camera and the recorder automatically starts recording. And there was a lot of talk in the Watts case that he did have a security system and that was connected to a alarm security business that recorded everything. Even when people were at home, they could still hear what was going on inside the house. If there was any screams or anything like that, or a door that opened that had a sensor on it or anything, the cameras automatically went into possibly roll action and the recorders. Now, possibly not the cameras, but at least the recorder, the voice recorder. Now, we don't know if they had a security system inside I imagine not, or outside the house. But the two girls that survived, one of them heard the voice, and they would recognize that voice because it was such a scary night, right? That voice would be burned into her brain. Bushy eyebrows. Well, she must have seen him and must have been close enough. This guy said he was there to help. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people are asking, where was this one guy, this YouTuber, that is mysteriously, this guy is around every scene that's going on, sometimes before it even happens, which is pretty freaky. I don't know how he does it, but we don't know which he has bushy eyebrows, right? So we really don't know what the voice is, but them two girls that were survived, or at least one of them girls, claims they heard somebody say that they were there to help them. Thus, for she knows that voice. And now the only thing is now is getting voice analyzed recordings of suspects and play them to that surviving girl and see if there's any kind of a connection there. Now we know this guy was 5 foot. This guy was a bigger dude from what she's saying, and he was a muscular dude and taller, 5'10", I think she said, to 6 foot. Bushy eyebrows, and it's possible. We don't know. We really don't know what's going on in that case. Anything is possible. There could have been numerous people. It could have been one person if they knew what they were doing, and had training. And a very cold person, yes, one person could have done that job. But he would have had to been in and out. And yeah, it's possible he changed. He was set to do a job. He might have walked out of that house a bloody mess. By the time he got to his vehicle or his destination, he didn't have them clothes. He took them off already and changed. It's very possible. So the two surviving girls, whichever one heard the voice, whichever one said there was bushy eyebrows, she holds the key. And of course, we would have to protect her. And then again, she's even a suspect, right? This might have been planned, folks. The cleanup, everything. If they're saying, well, there was a cleanup, somebody must have cleaned something up. Well, there was enough time. No one called the police. Hours and hours, over 8 hours went by. So it's possible that it was a cleanup. Very tricky. This is almost like somebody planned. The devil had a hand in it, as Nancy Grace would say. Hey, how you doing, Tahoe? So yeah, very touchy case. Still an ongoing case, and it could be more than one person. They might have signaled them, let them know. It's very possible. They're all suspects, and we said that on this case numerous times. Until the case is closed, they're all suspects. Food truck guys, everyone that was outside, anyone that walked up, suspects, right? There was one guy that came around the front end of that food truck and was looking deliberate, a taller guy, dressed in a jogging suit or something. And he did, as soon as he came around that corner, he was eyeballing the girls. No doubt about it. And then he swooped around them in the back. Now, it might have been because the girls were drunk, causing a commotion, whatever. Might have been. Might have been they were good-looking girls, and the guy, he noticed them right off the bat. It could be nothing, but actually, in reality, they're all suspects. Something fishy going on. In both these cases, even the Delphi case, very fishy. So Yeah, now we need to get these recordings of their voices and start playing them to this so-called witness that heard the voice, claiming they were there to help them. Right? I don't. It's very freaky. Now, a lot of people are saying, could it be that one YouTuber? I mean, I don't know, man. Maybe only the girls that survived or the girl that's seen them. Listen, you had to be. How do you see someone in the pitch dark if supposedly there was no lights on? How do you see bushy eyebrows if there ain't some kind of light projecting on that area for that girl, even if the guy walked right past her and it was pitch black, how does she know he's got bushy eyebrows if it was pitch black? There had to have been some kind of a silhouette of a light on where she's seen the dude had bushy eyebrows, right? She would have seen. I'll tell you another thing too. If that girl, if the surviving witness seen the face of the guy, even if he was wearing a mask, she would know the dude had a giant nose. And she would point that out. You would think, depending on what kind of lighting was in the house, when this guy supposedly walked past her, if she can see bushy eyebrows, then she would have seen a giant honker of a nose, right? As soon as they showed her a photo of Brian or uh, Kohlberger, don't you think she would have been meant that's the guy, right? And then they would have took voice analyzing clips from uh, Brian Kohlberger and let her listen to him. And if it was Brian Kohlberger, you would think she might be a witness. But then again, there are people out there that are saying that uh, something fishy's going on because these girls didn't call nobody. They called their friends before police, and 8 hours went by, or plenty of time to come up with stories and plenty of time to cover up a crime. So I do agree with that. Very interesting to see there's a lot of suspects. Even these YouTubers are becoming suspects. And we're seeing that in the Delphi case too. From the beginning, some of these YouTubers were actual uh, suspects in the case. And none of these people, the police have never came out and said deliberately this person's name is not a suspect. They deliberately came. They haven't come out and said this person is not a suspect. This person and said their names behind it. They haven't done that. And if any of these people weren't suspects and were totally clear, they would come out and say yada 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 is cleared and has nothing to do with this case. Had an alibi and we went through it with a fine tooth, but they're not saying that. So that leaves me to believe that it's still an open case and everyone is a suspect. Well, everyone that we're seeing in the Kohlbergers case that is on film around the girls, all the phone data from the girls, and all them people around the girls at the food truck that day, all the boyfriends' data, phone data, computer data, anybody that pinged in that area of them two girls right before the murders, before they went home, are suspects. And that's what us police, or well, that's what the police and the government would be doing is pulling up data. We want phone data of the closest tower to that area and all the phones that pinged from that area in that general area within a block. and they'll probably go through it with a fine-tooth comb. And it takes time, folks. It takes time. If this was more than just one guy, it would take time. And I'm not saying one guy couldn't do all this mess. One guy could do all this mess. If he's got the balls and he's just a cold hearted person, or he's getting paid a lot of money. Yeah, one guy could do the job of killing four of the people in the house and be out of there. Uh, Very risky, but could it be done? It could be done. But I'm leaning towards more of somebody might have been helping Koberger or something. He knew something, somebody, or he is the Potsy folks. And it is somebody else. Um, Heck, it could have been one of Kohlberger's studies that he was doing. It could have been someone that Kohlberger was talking to and figured they were going to do the crime and then contact Kohlberger, maybe, and say, look what I did, right? We don't know. I mean, that's how crazy this is. When Kohlberger put out ads on Reddit asking for people to contact him that have killed or been in prison for murder and stuff, it was the perfect storm for these idiots. It could have possibly happened that. Now, I'm not saying it happened. That's just a theory of mine. And Kohlberger got the blame for it. Possibly. We don't know. We don't know nothing until it goes into court. Then we will know the truth and what the state proved and all the phone data and all the anything, all the Wi-Fi stuff and anyone that might have been in that area using hers, anything, any phone that pinged within a block of that house or whatever at that time. I mean, this would be a big case, a lot of data to go through, and that would take time, manpower. So it is interesting, and I would start taking recordings of these people and letting the witness listen to these people. And it being that it's an ongoing case, the authorities can do that, right? They can take a YouTuber that they are proclaiming that seems suspicious, and I myself do wonder how sometimes this guy gets in these areas and he's there within hours of it happening or a day or whatever. It's very, very freaky. Very, very freaky. I don't know how. It's just a freaky thing. And it could be where this guy was flying underneath the radar the whole time. Maybe, I mean, and Halloween's coming up. This is freaky, right? When you're looking at this case, the Idaho 4 and the Delphi case, and there are similarities in it, and it's just reeking of the devil or witches or whatever all these people are saying. Well, I could tell you this much, folks. Uh, these are fables and things, the Odins and whatever, the fables, gods or whatever. Um, the witchery, the sorcery. Now, I don't know. That might be true. The Bible speaks of it. It might be true. I don't know. It reeks of it. But do I think the Odins killed the girls and then set the whole crime scene up to point towards it was the Odins, right? And they've so-called our Odins themselves. That would just be stupid. It would just be stupid. And that would take down a whole organization, would be watched by the Federal Bureau of Investigation and other organizations. The whole time they exist, they would be under watch. And it just don't make sense to me. I think it was made a killing. The Delphi was a killing made out to be something that it wasn't, to throw people off. And the Idaho 4 case uh, is getting very interesting. Kohlberger had something to do with it because his DNA is there, or at least his father's or whatever in the family. Somebody knew something. That DNA might have got either his DNA was put on there, or someone stole the knife sheath and the knife from him, or he might have borrowed it to somebody. Somehow, some way, Brian Kohlberger is connected to this case somehow. Whether it even be a potsy taking the fall for it, possibly. Um, but I think they got more than what we think on Mr. Kohlberger. And it might not even be from the Idaho 4 case. I mean, there's been a lot of murders in that area that are similar uh, to the Idaho 4, with the knives and the killing and stuff taken from uh, the house or wherever this guy's been, which now they're saying Kohlberger did have IDs and stuff. So Kohlberger is connected. The thing here in the Kohlberger case, which is the same thing lies in the Delphi case with Keegan Klein, is the data. They knew about Keegan Klein 12 days after the murders. And the same thing might be with Kohlberger, um, with data and everything, that he was using, unless it was a burner phone and untraceable. But I don't think so. You're looking at a lot of options here. It's a mind twisting, mind bending. Both cases, the Delphi and Kohlberger case. Could there be a connection? Well, myself, I would believe there is some similar uh, things in the case, and it could be very that well that uh, Kohlberger might have been a serial killer and traveled back and forth. And Indiana is coming right back through his path of getting back to Pennsylvania. It's the shortest way. So it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out that's why the Indiana police pulled him over numerous times. And heck, I even said, let's get a couple boys out there and start questioning Mr. Kohlberger where he was on February 13th, 2017. Who was he communicating with? I mean, if this guy was, if Kohlberger was asking these people to come to him, was he undercover? Or was he just that crazy where he wanted to build his, or was he actually already a serial killer and he was looking for more people like him, more people like Brian Kohlberger, that was more interested in looking into people's eyes as they die. I mean, it might be something that big, a cult, but not the Odins, right? Staged to look like the Odins, the Delphi case, maybe, possibly, we don't know. We're just making uh, assumptions or scenarios or our theories, and there's no laws breaking that. There's nobody's breaking the law for doing that. We actually, you want the honest to God and the goodness truth, we don't know crap. We're going off of videos and information that therefore could be fake itself. A giant Illuminati. Some are saying it's all a bunch of crap. Illuminati's made this up. They're covering for the Freemasons and all. Why don't we just light the whole world on fire, folks? and get it over and done with. Because if that's the case, then we live amongst madmen and women and complete nut jobs that are just slaughtering people. I would say that's why we need home defense. Bunch of crazies. I got a disability. My brain. I'm an idiot, but I ain't that dumb to go and take a life, possibly lose my life doing it, and then get caught and spend your whole life getting butt plugged by Big Bubba and the boys and the. No, I don't think so. There ain't nothing worth it. Not even millions of dollars to me. But to someone out there, they might be getting paid to do this kind of stuff. Bunch of sickos. I'm not sure yet. It's very crazy, demonic. Both cases, very demonic. The numbers on the house add up to 6. All this madness, if that's the case, right? I can tell you this much, folks. I don't want to start the world on fire. No, I don't want to. But the Lord might. If it's that evil, God Almighty, if it be your will, then this is madness, folks. These people are living in AD times, BC times, like cavemen, and back when King Arthur was, and King Arthur was a tyrant himself. Do you folks understand? You had to pay him money. He took your land from you and claimed it and made you folks pay taxes on it. We have our own tyrants in America that took over the world and took the land. We're a big army. We'll kill you and just take your land. That's how all this madness started. And you folks still praise these people and worship them. Viking gods, Odin, and everything. Fables that the Vikings told their children. Stories. Hey, we all love the Vikings. We all love the Vikings. They were great warriors. But that's just it, folks. It was an army thousands of years ago. And these idiots took it and made it real. And that's the problem, Lord, with this world, is history repeats itself. These folks can't learn from the massive deaths that have come before these people. And they thrive on it. It's horrible. Hey, Pickles, how you doing? I'm glad you're doing good. I'm glad you're in college, and glad you're working, and God bless you, little lady, and be good. And you all stole my active land away. It was all the Indians' land. Christopher Columbus or whoever, the Pilgrims came on, right? They're like, we'll give you some of this gunpowder and stuff for all the land, right? Indians didn't know no better. They were like, we got millions of acres. This is our country. They're swindled out of it. And my people too, right? I'm part Indian myself. They owe me 5 or 6 good casinos and a bunch of land, and you bet I want my squaws and horses. It's been a long time coming. AKA respect to Pickles. Thank you for reminding me that I am part Indian. Now, where was I? Yes, the Kohlberger case. And folks, you have to throw some humor in this, because if you watch these cases 24/7, it will drive you nuts. You will get depressed. Literally watching death all day long sucks. And I'm breaking away from it. It's madness. And it's not good for people that have mental illnesses or disabilities to be watching this stuff 24/7, of these cases of kids and women and dudes' lives being taken off. It's horrible. I need to build a robot to solve all this madness. But the Idaho 4 case, we have no clue. Delphi, we don't know. We weren't there. We have no idea what these people have done. You know who does know? The evidence, the facts of how the girls died and what happened or whatever, or at least we know what the girls succumbed to, of how they died. The police, the forensic guys, the lawyers, they know the truth. We don't. And we probably won't until it goes into court and state was ready. I believe state was ready for this to go to trial and go to court. I think there was more evidence that they have. That they have all the techno guys to track all the phone numbers, all the computers, all the photos. We're talking about the United States government and the law agencies, right? If they wanted, they could have pulled up satellite photos of the past week before this crime even happened in Delphi to see actually who was in that area. Same thing with the Idaho 4 case. These folks have professionals. It just takes time to go through the data. And I imagine the data will the data will solve the crime. The madness itself will solve the crime. The crime scene photos will solve the crime. It will take doubt out of these people's heads and some people do believe that these cases are a movie. They made them up. Well, I'm here to tell you folks, this is no movie I created. I can guarantee you that much. Some sicko might have, but not me. And it's not a movie. It's real life. And we're going to find out that we're surrounded by these idiots. It's just horrible. All right. Now, I want to thank everyone for stopping in, a.k.a. Pickles, Paige Turner, and Tahoe. All the rest of you folks out there, the data will show that these people probably lured. We're stalking these people. I've been stalked before. That they're going through everything, folks. I think data will show all this madness that these people created, and they try to make it out to be something else. Probably, I imagine so. God bless everybody. Have a great night. And they're both open, active cases. And the Idaho 4 surviving witnesses hold the key to what he looked like and his voice. So there we go. You folks have a great day, a.k.a. Respect the Pickles. Thank you very much for stopping in, Tahoe. All the rest of you folks out there, have a great night. We got rain coming tonight. A nice day tomorrow, and they keep sending that smoke this way, but they're all being tracked. Don't worry. The smoke will be going back. God bless you all. Have a great night. Keep an eye on the weather.